different aspects of the creator. So we have the three suns. We know that the human body is the microcosm or the below the macrocosm. And man consists of mind, body, and soul. We have the physical and the invisible, and then we have the mediator between the two. In the same way, we have the mind, the soul, and the body. We have our mind, which is our thoughts, our ideas. Then we have our physical body, which is all of our impulses, physical nature, five senses. And then we have our emotional body, or our soul, the spiritual side. So we have the three aspects within ourselves. We have the spiritual, the physical, and the mental, emotional. So the invisible sun is the sun that has three aspects manifest in three different ways, still coming from the same aspect. The first sun is the personal aspect and is the conscious, intelligent aspect of the creator that has the same qualities like a father would to its children, or a father-mother relationship to its creation, has personal aspects to its consciousness. The field is intelligence. It's endowed with intelligence, beauty, wisdom. We went through the three aspects of God in the lecture of Hiram Abiff: strength, beauty, wisdom, or Kather Chokmah. These three different rays of the sun manifest in these ways and even end up creating the microcosm in the same fashion. We have our physical body, which is where the personality is. Then we have the mind, and then we have the soul. Mind, body, soul. And these three different aspects are one, and that's how the unmanifest manifest and crystallizes and becomes dense in order to learn the lessons of becoming more dense and essentially becoming cold or going down in the sine wave into material matter, to experience the self-differentiation of the individual egos so that they can climb the ladder back up to cause with self-realization. So the first aspect of the sun is personal, has human aspects, but higher forms of these, such as caring, the ability for supreme loving kindness, supreme compassion, supremely merciful. So, even the creator still looks out for us, even though we make mistakes, and always is striving to make us improve. We know the ray of Saturn helps us discipline our life. The ray of Mars helps us with our willpower. The sun helps us understand who we are, where we come from, and our spiritual heritage, and understand how to ignite our spiritual fire and end up start creating the solar bodies, which helps us to have conscious awareness in the superior spiritual dimensions, or the more subtle realms, and not just in the physical realm, the dreamless realm, and the dream state, or the three gunas. So we have the first most subtle invisible level, which is the invisible spiritual personal aspect, which is that's in the same way as the soul and human in the microcosm. The next level is the mental or the intellectual sun, the rays of the sun. Now it's been said by the ancient sages that the sun is pure intellect, the sun that we see in the sky. That energy is pure mental power of the creator and manifest all forms. And that sun, that mental sun, is what gives us our ability to have mental cognition, to be able to think, to produce ideas, and to connect the dots, and to understand and self-reflect. So by activating our mind, we understand that our mind is what connects the soul, the most subtle aspect, to the field, the mediating principle between the soul and the body. So we tap into the mysteries of the inner being. We then apply intelligence to our mind, and our mind in return gives us the aspect of the human body, which then carries forth the divine action. As above, so below. You're allowing the divine idea, the divine ideal, the divine ideal to manifest through your actions, through your word, your emotions, and your actions. So thought, emotion, and action are the three: spirit, mind, body. Invisible sun, spiritual sun, which is like the father, mother, creator. Then you have the mental rays, the effulgence, the intellectual realm, the mind and man. And then we have the physical aspect of the physical body, which manifests as the physical sun, which warms our realm, which allows us to see all the different changes of the seasons that the sun occurs and allows all things to manifest and all life to continue because of the physical sun. But the physical sun's also dual in nature. It's in the realm of the physical realm, so it has a dual nature where it can also burn, cause drought, or cause problems, but also gives benefactor of good and evil. It shines on both good and evil. The physical sun is dualistic, the demiurge. And then you have the invisible sun, which is the spiritual father, which is in the invisible counter space realm, which is the inner Christ, or the soul, or the inner redeeming factor that helps ascend souls out of the material realm, or in, let's say, ice cubes, and turn ice cubes into water, that water into vapor, that vapor into lightning, hence salvation. Same way our souls are akin to water. Our inner spiritual invisible sun evaporates the water, saves us from the physical realm, and allows us to have physical being, to have our self-differentiation. So then the next physical realm, which is less dense in the next realm, will be a higher form. When we understand the good and evil and the mistakes that we make in this realm on that journey, then the next realm, we will have more knowledge of wisdom, more knowledge and wisdom, and more strength to overcome those negative qualities, and we'll be in a better place. The whole goal is to ascend. So in the natural world, we could verify that the sun produces growth. The electrifying rays of the sun permeate the entire universe and allow plants to grow, trees to reach and aspire to reach to heaven, just as the branches do. And that solar energy transforms water by evaporating it into the clouds, and that cloud produces lightning. And we know in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, of all weapons, I'm the lightning bolt. Because lightning is the outcome of this alchemical process, light. And that water that pours down from the heavens rehydrates and completely nourishes the planet, which is the mother. And that water germinates the planet and allows new life to grow. So in the same way, the spiritual sun wants us to grow and to produce and to always progress and be positive, and to be a ray of sunshine and not darkness, to keep our lanterns lit, to keep our oil full, to practice charity, to be strong. If we feel weak, then we need to apply the forces of Mars to have strength. If we're feeling like we are unenthusiastic and morbid, we need to invoke the powers of Jupiter and positiveness. If we feel that we need more discipline in our life, let us hope and glorify the ray of Saturn to allow us to be more disciplined. Make a conscious effort to pay attention in your everyday life, to be self-conscious and self-willed from within to without. So we have the spirit, mind, and the body. So the sun is the physical representation of the invisible Christ, which is the supreme intelligence which emanated from the Father within. The Father within is the cerebrum, which produces the Christ oil, which is manifest biochemically. But this Christ is also symbolized in the sun, which voyages through the 12 zodiac, the 12 powers of God are ignited within us, the 12 cranial nerves. We have to overcome these 12 zodiac and actually invoke their qualities and create them. We have to bud them just like flowers. The 12 petal lotus of the 12 of the heart chakra must blossom through a mixture of faith and works in the name of Christ, which is the supreme sun. Christ is the indwelling logos, or the first emanation from the invisible Father, who emanated a son, or his image, Sophia, divine wisdom incarnate. And that spirit and that intelligence incarnates in flesh and is reenacted through our everyday affairs on the physical plane. So just as Santos has said in some of his lectures of Jaya, I believe it's called Jaya Krishna Jaya. It's an Indian book that explains the pastimes of Krishna or the pastimes of God or Christ happen on a transcendental level, on the transcendental planes of existence. So he manifests as spiritual, mental, and physical, which is the Holy Trinity, or Chokma, Kether Chokma Bana, on the top of the tree of life, representing the neocortex, the left and right hemispheres of the brain, the cerebrum. And this is the Holy of Holies in the brain, where the oils are produced on a physical level that represent the forces of the invisible sun and moon, which are our mother and father who are in heaven. Hence, the Ten Commandments says, honor thy father and thy mother. The scriptures are sealed with 7 seals and need to be understood from a spiritual perspective, as well as a mental, physical, anagological, and astrochemical perspective as well. Remember, astrology was the original psychology. Now we have astrology. Chemistry used to be alchemy. Astronomy used to be astrology. Hence, now we need to re-spiritualize these material philosophies. So the great work essentially is a more subtle growth that occurs just in the mental plane through the intellectual growth of man, the ability to recognize, self-reflect, and to look at ourselves and to overcome certain challenges. Subtle growth occurs, and that's the spiritual sun of our mental faculties shining forth and increasing. And with that knowledge, we place it on the inner self, or the invisible being in the invisible Father within the invisible Son, and we start merging with that absolute being. And that this is where, people are always striving to become mentally more capable, spiritually more capable, learning trades and skills, different languages, and aspiring to refine the intellect through philosophy, music, and through family, and through understanding, and through experiences and trials and tribulations, as we all grow through this physical womb and tomb, this school/playground, because it's both a school and a playground. And we're here to do great work to become perfect, just like Jesus says in the Bible, be as perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect. And this spiritual nature of the Christ must be born within us. And we can apply this to December 21st, or the winter solstice, when the sun begins to born and increase in light. And that sun needs to increase within ourselves as well. And the manger is a symbol between Capricorn and Sagittarius astrotheologically, but in the body, it's the solar plexus. And on an anagogical level, it is that fact that, human beings are just, simple as a manger, physical, full of animal passions, animal impulses, and in a manger, symbolized by the physical body, or the spirit incarnating into the human flesh. So the sun, when they say like, okay, is this worshiping the sun? Not the physical ball in the sky, because the sun in itself is not worshipped. See, the ones that worship the physical sun, they are only worshiping the physical aspect. They don't see the invisible nature, the cause, the fact that things have meaning and purpose, that all things are created by the Creator, and that all things are endowed with meaning, and like is like. And in the doctrine of analogies, we trace back the physical aspects of creation and know that the invisible counterparts are the cause of these physical effects. And each effect has a divine idea behind it. So the sun is always seen as a symbol of God, the life of the sun that bestows infinite glory upon the earth, as the visible representation of the invisible Father who art in heaven, who produces that physical sun, because the physical sun is just projected or a reflection of the invisible light, or the effulgence of the Supreme Personality. So the ancient ones from Kemet understand the stage of the sun and the cross represent the 4 cardinal points as the sun goes through the ecliptic. This cycle occurs daily, monthly, weekly, yearly. Your whole life is based on the sine wave. In the winter, you experience the dark night of the soul. In the spring, you experience spiritual rebirth. In summer, you experience glory. In fall, you experience the death of the ego. And these represent the sun's journey, because that physical journey is a spiritual, physical representation of who you are. So it is said that the sun kills itself for the life of mortals. As Alvin Boykoon says, a higher spiritual intelligence or being sheds its spiritual light to give birth to the lower physical entities. So So the sun itself kills itself for the life of us. Christ sacrificed its exalted state so that us mortals can dwell in higher consciousness, progressing towards the great eternity. So when we're repeating the sun or referring to the sun as the Christ, we're not talking about the physical sun. We're talking about the invisible spiritual sun within the spiritual realm, which the physical realm is just a symbol or an effect of that realm. So we know that the sun represents the individualization of the divine creator. If we know that the divine creator, the inner father, is the circle, the eternal circle, then we have the dot as the effulgence of the unity, the unified entity, or the Christ, or the sun, or the soul. On a microcosm, it's our soul, and this soul dwells within ourselves. It says in the Eastern teachings, the Peter Atman, the super soul is within our heart and connects with us on an individual personal level, as well as an effulgence, just like in a personable mental intelligence that permeates the whole air, similar to air. And then finally, we have the spiritual abode, or the source of light, or the lantern itself, the divine personality. So, the spirit of the sun manifests in us as the higher consciousness. It's the part of us that intuitively wants us to, tells us to do the right thing. When we're doing something wrong, it kicks in, and our consciousness tells us and explains to us a different way, or at least nags us, or we know that we feel remorse when we do something wrong. And it's the spirit that wants to lead us to perfection, the part of us that wants us to improve. In the same way the physical sun makes plants grow, our inner spiritual sun wants our inner talents to grow. As we conquer the 12 zodiac, we must manifest each quality of the 12 disciples. Each 12 disciples reside in the 12 petal lotus of the heart chakra, but also the 12 cranial nerves. And by doing your mission of earth, or what the inner God created you to become, helps develop these by living a righteous life in purity. Everyone has a choice to listen to this inner voice. This inner voice is the spirit of the sun, spiritually manifested in the heart of you, the individual. So the ancients did not worship the physical sun, but knew that the light was a symbol of the one who emanated it. This emanation is the Holy Spirit, which resides in all of our hearts, which strives to do the right thing. It has charity, it heals, it wants to give. It has the love for all beings on earth, and a love for God, and a yearning for growth and potential, and to be reunited with its beloved. So in essence, it is the word, or the internal idea conceived by the being of truth. Now we should love and follow and know truth, and it's only natural for us to grow in spirit. As we know, all life grows physically. You must put forth the effort to grow spiritually in the invisible realm as well. So we can't just develop in the physical realm. We have to essentially, we have to make sure that we're putting effort in on a spiritual level, on the 3 different levels of thought, emotion, and action. Spirit, mind, body. And to understand mentally, we must learn wisdom, and to apply self-awareness and self-reflection. And then on a spiritual level, we must remain in silent meditation, silence, the abode of the Father. Inner silence, and creating a reservoir of peace, so that we can connect to the eternal messages our being are trying to transpire to us. And then physically, we must be using our body in a righteous way, so that we're doing physical acts of kindness and charity and service to the Creator and others, and not just for sensual sense gratification. So these are how we utilize these 3 different aspects of mind, body, and spirit, and the 3 suns, and what the ancients did to, in the respective way of how they worshipped and what they thought of Creator, and how Creator relates to the symbolism in the sun. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and hope you have a wonderful night.